guys, and welcome to one of the biggest weeks of the year in PGA, the Players Championship. We got a killer deal available for a limited time only where you can save 33% off of your first payment to a Run Pure subscription. By using the promo code PLAYERS33, you can knock 33% off your first payment on a Run Pure subscription. Our team has been crushing PGA since day one, and what better opportunity to join Run Pure Sports than a week where we will see some monster tournaments. Last year, Big T won the Players Championship Millie Maker, and our team has not slowed down since, with big wins from Hoop and AP, among others, making Run Pure's PGA team the most elite in the industry. Our members have been on fire too, shipping 2 Millie Makers in the past year. You can find all the best DFS players in our PGA Discord channel, chatting about weekly slates, so get in there today and access all the great info. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel already, make sure you head on over now, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so we know when we go live for all of our free PGA shows. We cover main slate and showdown, so whatever you are playing, we got you covered. Sign up today for a premium subscription to Run Pure Sports and take advantage of our promo for a limited time only. Use the promo code PLAYERS33 to knock 33% off your first payment on a Run Pure subscription. Thanks again, guys, and make sure you head on over to Run Pure to take advantage of that promo code, only available for a limited time, and find out why our members are crushing PGA by accessing our great premium content.
What is going on, everyone? AP over here at Run Pure Sports, bringing to you once again the Strokes Gain Show, the Tuesday crew. I'm here with my two guys. We got Snyder, we got Hoop, bringing you the winners. We absolutely own the Wednesday show. I know they're all right here watching, taking notes, trying to find those winners, and then that they'll take credit for the win tomorrow. We all know what's coming. We know it's coming. Big T Tambo. Speaking of Big T, shout out to him. Millie Maker winner here last year. Just literally called his own shot. You probably saw it on the promo video before this. Had every single guy up there and won himself $1 million. If you hadn't seen on Twitter yet, he lost it all. Had what, $17 in his account. No crowns left. My mom is texting me, worried about Big T. What's wrong with Tony? Such a great bit. But no, Tony's going to run it back again. He's still crushing. But man, phenomenal run last year. I'm really excited for the Players Championship this week. Again, shout out to Big T. Shipped everything last year. I'm confident, fellas, that RPS is going to do it again. We have a fun week of golf this week. There are two Millie Maker events this week over on Draftkings, $25 and a 2-2-2-2, I believe. So those are going to be some solid. The structure isn't, necessarily good, but hey, it is what it is. A chance to win $1 million. Let's bring in my two guys here. Hoop, what's going on, my man? How was your week last week? And how are you feeling about the Players this week?
Yeah, not the greatest last week. First kind of down week in PGA for me. We keep it honest on here. We don't come on here and claim that we're making millions on YouTube and lying to people. Or just, come out here and honest. It wasn't the best week. I was high on Rahm and I was high on Rory. And Rory fucking sucks. We're going to get into that too. It's not, we're going to talk about Rory when we get there. I mean, the dude's a disaster. But we'll talk about that. So it wasn't the greatest week. Going to bounce back though this week. I feel good about this. Great event, a lot of fun. The TV coverage is going to be absolutely phenomenal. You're going to get a little bit of everything this week. I mean, we're going to have weather. We're going to have rain for sure, it sounds like. We're going to have massive winds. The course already sets up as a, tough test. Well-rounded golfers tend to do well here. So, I mean, we're going to get hit with every angle this week, and it's a lot of fun. Before we get into it, though, happy birthday to you. Big day today, so happy birthday.
Yeah, getting older, couple gray hairs coming in, balls a little, sagging a little bit lower. Yeah. It is what it is. It happens. Snyder, what's going on?
One other thing before we get into it. Our boy, Rob Record, won $1 million last year, same as Tony. He is on board with us now, kind of doing some PGA content. Kicked it off today with a PGA players breakdown, which is free on the homepage of our website. And it's a phenomenal write-up. And honestly, it's free this week. I'm willing to bet that it's probably not going to be free next week, because that's just, I mean, such a great breakdown by him. Specific, he has a core posted in there, has weather stuff, has stats, has just absolutely everything. So it's free on our homepage. Rob Record, he won the Millie Maker last year. I don't know if it was before. I think it was after Big T did. But yeah, he's on board with us. He did a show with Tony, I believe, last week, and we're going to continue to kind of bump him up here, bump up his role at Run Pure. Just very knowledgeable about PGA. So that article is on the homepage of our website, and it's free this week, and probably not going to be free next week.
Yeah, it's a great piece. I actually read it right before I got on the show here, and it's like right up. I was telling Tony, it's like right up my alley. It's literally all the main things that I look at, which is probably common with everyone out there. We're all looking at similar things, but we need better ways to see them quicker, to be able to analyze them a little bit better. Really, really awesome stuff there from Rob. Snyder, let me bring you in, man. How was last week? The course was, absolutely brutal. We had a lot of wind, which was nice for Showdown. I think it was, man, what was it? Had to be like Friday or Saturday, where we're leaving like 3,000, 4,000 on the table, and we just printed. That's kind of where I made up some of my equity, because, week long, I think I returned about 50% of my buy-ins. But how did you end up last week? How do you feel about the players?
Yeah, that was a good day for Showdown for sure with me. I had a fairly decent day there. I had a pretty good round 1, 2 on Showdown, so that was all right. My main slate was it wasn't looking good going into Sunday, but then I had a team with Scotty Scheffler and Billy Horschel and a couple other guys in it, and that team went up quite a bit on Sunday, so that really helped save my weekend there for the main slate. So I ended up breaking even. Cash games were. I think I had one of the more popular teams. I think it cashed in most of the double ups. Some of the double ups didn't, and like head to heads, I was like maybe 60-40 winning, but it was a slightly profitable week once you figure in Showdown and everything. So I mean, it was good to get through there. I mean, the 6-6 last week was just absurd. But I mean, you're going to have that from time to time with a limited field like we had last week, when 78 of the 120 guys make the cut. But definitely looking forward to getting into this event.
Snyder, real quick, just to cut in, my best lineup last week was a 5-6. How crazy!
Yeah. I mean, there was
a lot of it had to do.
A
with
lot of guys went backwards. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of guys went backwards.
Paul Casey, I mean, had to have lost points over the weekend.
Yeah, he shot 78, 83.
Yeah, our boy Mav, I mean, just awful on the weekend. I mean, there's just some massive scores.
Yeah, we got Captain in the chat. Wow, Captain, what's going on, my man? And he brought up a good point. Scotty Scheffler, guys, like this dude. I mean, usually guys coming off an event, I kind of want to fade him. This guy just seemed, everyone else, you could see it in their face. They just looked phased by the wind, like tired. Like Rory was the worst. Like oh man. Scheffler didn't. He looked like he could go out and play 18 more holes and still like shoot under par. I mean, the dude is unreal. So I mean, I'm excited to get into it this week. Snyder, you got anything else? How do you feel about the players? Feeling good?
Yeah, I really like these events where we get the soft pricing. I think it allows you to make some pretty strong fades and stands at some areas. Pretty easy to build teams. We're gonna have some guys that are gonna be, I don't know if they'll be necessarily huge chalkly, but maybe they'll raise 25%, 30% in some contests and stuff. Definitely like the 10K range, and some of these other guys we'll get into for sure. But definitely looking forward to this event. We got some huge contests on board. Yeah, it's gonna be a great event.
You guys keep getting calls from the CDC. Super random. My phone's going off right now, and I'm telling you, like 9 times today, these dudes want a survey, and I'm like, no, I don't want to give you guys a survey. So, all right, let's. Our producer is going to get after me if I don't do this. So again, if you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us out each and every week, and it's a very easy thing to do, and it helps us out. Again, we have a promo going on right now. Players 33. That is Players 33, all one word. 33% off your first payment over here at Run Pure Sports. The SaberSim package is included in this deal. Incredible deal. We're going to be working on a breakdown for Saber PGA, I believe, tomorrow. We're going to be getting that set up. So again, get in now. If you're a member and don't have Saber and are curious, maybe we could come up with something. Give Captain an email or shoot me a DM. We'll figure something out to help you take advantage of that promo that we got on. I'm pretty sure we could figure something out. Members never win. So not true at all. Our members #do win, but let's go. Like, PGA has been incredible. Just going back to big, actually it started off with our very own Hoopster here. Like, I think it was, this company obviously started up after COVID. Golf PGA was one of the first events to start back up, and Hoop took down like $500,000 in one of those first weeks. Then we had Big T, $1 million winner. Now Rob Record, another $1 million winner. I mean, our team over here, Snyder, Tambo, everyone top to bottom is just phenomenal. Massive team over here for PGA. Going into wins though, Gingery, 275K win off of about $150. He wants to give away, I believe, a 222 ticket. So again, we'll figure out the details with that. I don't know if he wants to pick someone or if he wants us to pick someone. With that in mind, maybe write some cool stuff in chat, and I'll just pick someone and I'll just tell him who it is, and I think he'd be fine with it. So that's how we're gonna do it. We had AJG12991, 100K PGA win. Another shout out too I want to give to our team. We got the NBA World Championships this weekend. Hoop, Big T have tickets, and then JSU has 3 tickets to this thing, and then I believe another member also has a ticket. So another a chance at $1 million win over here at RPS. I mean, I just
found out today the FanDuel. I'm in the FanDuel one too. I was thinking it was Friday. I just found out today it's on Sunday and not Friday. So we'll see how that goes. So it's on Sunday. Nice. It's on Sunday's NBA slate. I had no idea until today. So maybe that's a good thing.
So, I mean, okay. But before we get into it, we got plenty of time tonight. We're looking at this event. We got, the PGA has a $20 million purse, over $3 million first. Things are going up. Rocket ship. Yeah. Things are going up in the PGA Tour. Talk to us a little bit about how that relates to DraftKings, FanDuel, and kind of what we do.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of this event this week, I mean, the prize pools for these guys are absolutely just massive. I think, what is it, 3 million or something to first, 1 million. I think anyone inside the top 10, it's like well into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, it is a massive prize pool for these golfers, and in terms of motivation and whatnot. I mean, all these guys are coming out and giving it their full effort in this event, and the field's absolutely loaded. Like you said, the DraftKings prize pools are absolutely loaded. Multiple milli makers. There's just a ton to look for. And, in terms of building your teams this week, build your teams how you typically do. Don't get, too crazy. And it is easy to kind of go overboard on these contests because there's so much that you want to play. Play within your means. Have fun, and I think it's going to be a good week for us. I really like this field, and I think there's going to be some big opportunities for us to take advantage of some potential ownership. Ownership's looking to be spread out again. We always talk about it. It's typically spread out, and at these major type fields, it gets even more spread out. So that just fits right up our alley, to be honest.
Yeah, I see PGA. I'm not going to say it's going to compete with the NFL, but I see the opportunity, especially in the gambling and fantasy streets, to be up there with NFL Sundays. If you think about it, like, you have more PGA events throughout the year, more of the public can actually get in and play it. NBA right now is so driven. Like, we love it. We have a nice edge with NBA, but it's you can know nothing about the NBA, and you can get good projections and you can compete. with NFL, with PGA, it brings so much more into it. So I just think the upside is massive.
Projections don't mean anything in PGA. I mean, honestly, the projections mean absolutely nothing. And I hope our competition's going out there and plugging in optimal type lineups. I mean, the other thing about the PGA, which I think has been a huge addition this year, is the partnership with ESPN Plus. ESPN Plus has done a phenomenal job. I mean, an absolute phenomenal job covering golf before it comes on TV. I mean, that was the biggest hole, I think, in the PGA landscape, is the fact that you couldn't see golf until like 3 p.m. no matter where you were, 1 p.m. if you're on the West Coast. Now you can see most of the shots, and then they're covering almost every guy in the field. If a guy gets up in that lead spot, like they have cameras on them, you're seeing all their shots. I mean, done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, very, very good points. Yeah, with that in mind, let's get to it. We got a big week. We got a lot to break down. If you're new with us, we go tier by tier. Before we get into that, it's the Players' Championship. Past winners, Justin Thomas last year, my guy. Rory in 2019. If it matters, Hideki was the leader in 2020 when things got shut down for COVID. And actually, I'm reading right off of Rob's article, so shout out to him. He has it laid out really nicely. Webb Simpson, Siwoo Kim, Jason Day, Ricky Fowler, Martin Keimer, Tiger Woods, Matt Kuchar, former winners here. Snyder, talk to us about the course. Talk to us about the weather. I've heard and I've seen weather's going to be a massive factor this week.
Yeah, we're here at the first big event of the year, the Players' Championship. The prize pool here is going to be the biggest one in golf history here. We've got a $20 million prize pool. The winner's going to collect $3.6 million, while 10th place is still going to earn over $500,000. So, I mean, these guys are definitely going to be playing for a lot. Everybody's going to be showing up here. Even the guy who finishes 36th is going to get a six-figure payday. So, plenty of money to be spread around here. So we're at the Pete Dye track here, and true to Dye Designs, golfers are going to see plenty of danger lurking out of here. There's going to be water on play in 17 of the 18 holes. There's going to be 88 bunkers littering the property. Many undulations here. It's going to be difficult to find a flat lie anywhere on this course. Sawgrass owns my three favorite finishing hole stretch. 16 is a very attackable par 5 with a little bit of risk there on they got the water on the right there near the green. 17's the famed island green, and some will even argue that number 18 is a scarier tee shot than 17, as number 18's framed by that lake stretching the whole entire left side of the hole there, and on the right side there's going to be some trouble over there as well. I mean, there's thick rough, trees, bunkers, moguls over there, and the further you hit your tee shot on 18, the more the more narrow the fairway becomes. Since the move to March, this course has played much softer than it was ever before, allowing golfers to be more aggressive with their irons. The greens are right here are going to be right around 5,500 square feet on average. Multi-tiered greens are going to have some false fronts too, so we're going to see some golf shots look like they're coming in good, and they're just going to run off the front. The greens are going to be rolling right around 12.5 on the stimp meter. The greens here are going to be played as, they may say Bermuda, but they're going to play as POA and bentgrass as they're overseeded, and Bermuda is not present this early in the year. Elite iron players that are not afraid to take chances have fared very well here, so I'm looking targeting some of those guys. I think finding the fairway could have a big advantage here too, especially if they end up playing lift clean in place here due to possible weather. So I think that could be maybe a stat nobody's talking about too much. Strokes gained approach off the tee, tee to green, bogey avoidance, par 5 scoring, and Pete Dye history is some key stats I'm looking at. And now for the weather, I've seen some different weather forecasts out there. As of Tuesday night of just a little while ago, I looked into this. Tuesday and Wednesday, there's about a 40 to 60% chance of rain, so we should see soft conditions regardless coming into this event. Thursday, we have temperatures in the mid-70s. Wind speeds are right around 9 to 15 miles an hour with gusts around 20. From 9 a.m. on, it looks pretty similar, and there's a chance of 70% chance of thunderstorms all day long Thursday. And then Friday looks like a carbon copy of Thursday, so there's thunderstorm chances all day Friday as well. So it'll be interesting to see how much play they actually get in. If there's lightning in the in the landscapes there. I mean, they're going to shut it down. They won't let them play if there's any lightning going on. Saturday morning looks to be the worst when it comes to the winds. Wind finder's showing me a gust up to 40 miles an hour easily. Even sustained winds are going to be in that low to mid 20s throughout Saturday. And then the cold front moves in Saturday, dropping temperatures into the mid 30s at night. It's going to play a lot colder towards the end of Saturday's play and into early on Sunday. There are going to be some really cold temperatures. So I think that could affect some things also. And then as the day progresses, the winds kind of diminish. Weather comes back good. It's going to be a good weather day on Sunday. But Saturday's going to be a cold day. Friday, Thursday, it's going to be interesting. They do have a sub-air system here. So, I mean, with that sub-air system, they can remove as much of that moisture as they want to get these greens, help firm them back up and get them back up to speed and rolling. So what are you guys' opinions on this weather take?
For me, the rain portion of it, typical Florida weather is like they see storms and rain come in and out, and it's usually like fast moving stuff. It's not typically like a 12-hour straight rain. So the way I'm reading it, and I'm definitely not a meteorologist, is that at some point you're going to see rain, I'm assuming Thursday and Friday, but I don't think it's going to be like 12 straight hours of rain where they can't golf. Like you said, they can get the course ready very quick with the system that they have. But lightning's the big factor though too. If there's lightning in the area, they're just not going to play. But I think they're probably able to get together. It seems like there will be some delays at some point. Saturday's a big day though. I mean, 20-mile-an-hour sustained wind with gusts of 40 and a lot of water on this course could be a similar situation to what we saw last weekend, where we see some, just huge blow-ups going into the weekend. It's fun though, man. It makes it fun. Like, it was fun to see those guys struggling a little bit last week. Now, obviously it didn't work out so well for my pocketbooks, but it was still fun to watch. But it's a factor. You already have a course where you have to be on your A game to succeed. Now you throw in this weather as well. Looking forward to it.
17 is going to be on Saturday. 17. You're talking an island green. So if you're new to the players, it's an island green that these guys are hitting into. Now, it's not a long golf shot at all. And if there's no wind, these guys are all over it. Some do miss. There's pressure. There's crowds. A lot of money on the line. 40-mile-an-hour wind. Like, I don't care who you are. That's going to bring a luck factor into it that I don't think really anyone can predict. You just have to kind of embrace the variance and just focus on getting good lineups through. And if you have a bad beat, you have a bad beat. Like, it is what it is. You got to roll with the punches on that one. But be set up. Like, the layup shot is not any easier than the first one. So if your guy's ball goes in the drink, he's hitting that third shot. And it's not any easier than the first one. So there's going to be some changes there. There's going to be some big scores there, I think, if the wind pans out like it's projected to. One little tidbit I will add that I found, Snyder, is par 4 scoring. So when you look at, one stat that when you look at the last 5 years, 6 years, guys that scored well on par 4s, they were consistently either, inside the top 10 or winning. So, and it makes sense. So like the hardest holes on this course are the par 4s. So we're talking 18, 15, 14, 7, 5. A few of those are a few of the toughest holes on this course. Obviously, number 8, long par 3, almost 240 yards, is the third toughest hole. But all those other holes are really tough. So you want guys that are good at scoring on par 4s. Let's get into it though, boys. Let's start with this 10K and up, 10K and up range. Hoop, I'm gonna start with you. What are you doing with this range, going with Hovland all the way up to world number 1, Jon Rahm?
Yeah, I'll start with Jon Rahm. If you watch the show every week, I think he's the best golfer in the world. And honestly, it just it hasn't changed. It's just been the same thing every week. The short game and the putting. Typically, he is one of the best short game putters, and typically he's a good putter. The approach game off the tee, everything is still phenomenal. Just can't get the putting down. Now, for me personally, and anyone watching, if you've played Rahm the last 3 or 4 weeks, like I have, and I think we have, you can't stop now. Like, you just can't stop and say, oh, I'm done. The guy can't putt. You got to keep riding it. So, you guys know what I'm doing. I'm going to continue to ride him. Nice thing with him is it's looking like probably the lowest ownership we've had on him in probably like a year and a half. Like, he's going to be, I think, probably mid-teens this week. Again, we're not big into ownership and making big moves in terms of fading guys based on ownership, but I think we get him at the lowest ownership this year. And I've been on him. I can't get off Rory. I mean, it was just a huge mistake last week, and he comes out and fires the big early round, and everything's looking good. And he's just mentally, he just can't do it. Like, he really can't. I know he had the win last year at Quail Hollow or whatever, but outside of that, if you faded Rory every week, you've done pretty damn good for yourself. Like, the guy is just not an elite golfer. Now he's up in this top tier with, Rahm, Morikawa, JT, like by far the worst guy up here. Totally regret playing him last week. And his comments after the round, like, what a pussy. Like, man up and just say, hey, the course was tough. Everyone had similar conditions. Yeah, I sucked out there, didn't get the job done. Like, don't make excuses and say it's too hard of a setup and all that. Scotty Scheffler didn't think it was too hard of a setup. He was not rattled one bit. Like you said, he got the job done. Rory, got to be better than that. In terms of my DFS lineups, he's not hitting them anytime soon, so he can fuck off. Morikawa, though, I mean, Snyder's boy, I mean, this sets up perfect for Morikawa. And I continue to say I think Jon Rahm is the best golfer in the world. I think Morikawa is probably number 2, and I think he proves it this week. I mean, I love Morikawa, and I don't want to steal Snyder's thunder too much. This is his boy. He's been on him, and he's been dead right. I mean, Snyder has been 100% right on Morikawa. Last year, some doubt from us. This year, like, I'm fully on board. Like, he is the real deal. If he makes putts, he probably wins this event. It's just as simple as that. Now, the weather could play a factor this week. That adds a lot of variance, but in a neutral environment, if he comes out and he makes putts this week, he wins the event. JT, won this event last year. The course sets up perfect for JT. He's playing great golf right now. Just a low risk play. I mean, it just seems like a lock to be somewhere in here, top 15, whatever it may be. Like, he just seems like a lock. And at this type of event, the best golfers rise to the top. One of these top guys is probably going to win this week. Yes, there's a chance, a long shot, sneaks in and does some damage. But more times than not, it's going to be these top guys at an event like this. And I think JT is another phenomenal play. Can't play everyone up here. Hovland has been playing solid golf, was solid last week. The nice thing with Hovland is, if he's playing well, he's contending to win. It's not like he comes out and gets a lot of top 30s or top 40s. Like, if he makes a cut and he's playing solid golf, he's going to be in this thing to win it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play him, though, because of how much I like the other guys besides Rory. So to me, it's a pretty clear range. And honestly, though, just from looking at things, a lot of people have a similar mindset up here. Curious to get your guys' take, but I think a lot of people are going to be on the same guys in this top range. They just stand out as such good plays to me.
Like it. Shots fired at Rory. I'll fire back a little bit. I love my guy Hoop. But man, like, okay, so Rahm, like, if you look at the last couple events, Rory's edged out Rahm. So up top, it's going to be really interesting this week because now Rahm has dominated ball striking. I mean, it's been so tilting. Like, he is literally first in approach, first in greens and regulations gained, and first in par 4 scoring. One of the key stats I was talking about this week. The putter, though, in the around the green game is a concern for me. If he can fix that, he's going to win this week. Like, hands down, if his putter shows up, he wins. I'm very, very confident in that. But it comes down to that putter. So it's going to be really interesting this week. And then Rory, I mean, yeah, the comments are just, I don't know. He actually, he finished, T13. He's actually, like, the last 5 events, all inside the top 15. So, like, on paper, he looks better than what we're seeing watching him play is the only thing that I would say about Rory. It's not, but I'm with you, Hoop, and how tilting he is, because I know that goes back a lot longer than what we're talking about right now. But Snyder, 10K and up range, Hovland all the way up to Rahm. What are you doing with these guys?
Yeah, I think I'm going to play 2 or 3 of these guys. With Jon Rahm, I mean, he just continues to dominate off the tee and approach. The irons are great. Everything's going good until he gets around the green and putting. And I was talking to Big T like Sunday or Monday. We were kind of talking. I actually was thinking, I was like, what's the chances that John Rahm actually used those green reading books more than everybody thinks? And now that those green readings books aren't allowed, I mean, what if that's really contributing to Rahm's downfall in putting? Kind of interested to hear what your guys' opinion on that as well.
Right now, Snyder, is that why?
It could be. I mean, I don't know if there's any merit to that. I could be overthinking it. I don't know.
I didn't know that they couldn't use the green reading books anymore. So
yeah, they outlawed that this year, I think, or I think it was this year or last September or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it is interesting. I don't know. I mean, the 10-inch miss. I mean, that has nothing to do with the green reading, but all the other ones. Yeah, I mean,
that was so bad. That was like the worst thing I've ever seen.
You just never see that.
I've done that.
It's so funny. He gets so tilted about everything. He did that and like no reaction. Like once he must have been embarrassed. I'm assuming.
I was waiting for him to pull a Matt Jones after that, but he kind of he kept his composure there, which is interesting. But I think I'll probably play some Rahm this week. Probably. I fielded him last week. I played him at like 20%, and I could see myself kind of doing the same thing here, playing him right around like the 15 to 20% in MME, but definitely going to be playing my guy Morikawa. He finished 41st here last year in his first trip. Did close with a low round 66 that year. He's just the best ball striker on tour. I think he's the best player. He's coming up. I listened to an interview he had on the Golf Subpar podcast with the Golf Channel guys. It was pretty good listen.
And just to add on, like a different golfer too at this point in his career. I mean, last year was really when he took that leap. The players last year was early on. Like he's a different guy this year. For 41st last year, but at this point, to me, he's just much better than he was last year at this point.
And he's really not practicing much. In that podcast, he talked about he doesn't want to be at the golf course any longer than he has to be. If he has to go to the range, he says he'll go to the range for 20, 30 minutes and try and get it worked out. He'd rather be shooting hoops or at a restaurant and doing far other things.
The old saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I know, right? Definitely think he's a guy that could add Players Champion to his already pretty big resume. 2-time major winner, WGC resume. I could see him adding that Players Champion to that list. I'm not sure if anyone's ever done that at age 25, but Tiger Woods would be the only guy, I think, which he tied Tiger when he had that WGC.
Oh, no, Spieth doesn't have a Players Championship, but the majors, I think.
Yeah. JT, I'm probably going to play some JT here. Everybody's like, oh, nobody's won it 2 times in a row, but I don't think we need him to win. I mean, if he can top 5 here, I'm going to definitely take that. If you would give me that right away. He's been kind of back to his old ways here. Finished 8th or better in 6 of his last 9 events. I mean, he kind of rivals Morikawa for the best ball striker on tour. He won this event last year with a sluggish start. I mean, he caught fire over the weekend, shot 64-68 last year over the weekend. Definitely going to be on him as well. I'm going to be fading Hovland and Rory as well. I mean, I could see Rory trolling us all here and just coming out and doing it, but I'm not going to be on it.
Yeah. So for me, a couple things stand out. So like one thing, like Justin Thomas, when you look at his history here, so obviously won last year, but he had a T75, T11, T35 leading up to that, a T3 in 2016. But and when you look at Rory, he won in 2019, but he missed the cut in 18 and 21. One thing I'm getting at is if you look at Rory when he won, that was like in the like, man, he came into this. Listen to this: 4th at the TOC, 5th at the Farmers, 4th at the Genesis, 2nd at the WGC Mexico, 6th at the Arnold Palmer, and then he won the Players. Let's go to JT. JT, he was 2nd at the Zozo, 4th at the Masters, 3rd at the TOC, 5th at the WGC Mexico. He did miss the cut at the Genesis, had another strong finish at the Waste Management, and multiple other top 10s, and then he got his Players win. What I'm telling you is like form, I think, is a stat that goes maybe a little bit overlooked here. So we're all looking at these guys who, man, it's like they should win on paper. But when I look at it this year, when I'm looking for guys that look very similar to that, I'm looking at Colin Morikawa. Let's just look at his resume right now. 2nd at the CJ Cup, 7th at the Zozo, 5th at the Century, 2nd at the Genesis, and he checks every other box. Colin Morikawa, I'm in on him. Let's look at Victor Hovland, T2 at the API, T4 at the Genesis. He didn't miss a cut at the Phoenix Open. He is probably partying, so we can forgive him for that. T30 and then a win at the Mayakoba. Man, he really fits the bill for me as well. And then even Justin Thomas, he won last year, but this guy is playing some incredible golf. So like for me in this range, it's so easy to get kind of just, drawn into Jon Rahm and Rory. But how I keep looking at it is we have 3 guys down here that are playing some phenomenal golf that, maybe I'll just get onto them and overlook the odds because Rahm is going to be the big favorite, Rory up there as well, and just get more exposure to Hovland and Morikawa and JT. So that's what I'm leaning right now. I really like your boy this week, Snyder, Colin Morikawa. I think, you laid it out perfectly. I think he checks so many boxes. I have no problems going back to JT and then Hovland. I mean, man, Hovland, he was right there at the end at the API and he let it go. I think he bounces back and I think he's going to be in contention again this week. So that's where I'm leaning in this range, kind of my 1 and 2 hoop or in the Snyder. Let's go to you, 1 and 2.
It's going to be Morikawa, but I hope nobody plays him because he can't putt, and JT.
There we go. Hoop, 1 and 2. Then, take us into the next range, which is another just jam-packed range with good golfers.
And it's tough to kind of parse out these guys, but I gotta stick with my boy Rahm, and then I'll go Morikawa on number 2. Going down to the 9K range, it doesn't get all that much easier. There's some really good guys down here. The fact that Cantlay is not in that top range of guys seems a little crazy because of how well he's played. 9-9, a little bit of a discount from all the dudes in the 10K range. $1,200 discount from Rahm. $800 discount from Morikawa. I think he's just as good. So I mean, definitely like Cantlay. Dustin Johnson is the one that, if you're a game theory person, if you're looking to get different in the Millie Maker, I don't think anyone's going to play Dustin Johnson this week. I think, by far the 9K and above guys, he is going to be the lowest owned guy. Last time we saw him, it was one of those disinterested Dustin Johnson events at the Genesis. And when he doesn't have it, he's just going through the motions. And that's kind of what we saw. We haven't really seen him play good golf in a while. It's going to be unowned. I mean, I definitely won't be playing him. If you're looking for, the lowest owned guy, I think in this range, it's Dustin Johnson. Schauffele at these, major type events, always like him. Hideki, I think, is a solid play at 9-6, just playing solid, steady golf. The course sets up for him well. The COVID year, I believe he was 7 or 8 under, and then it got canceled. So he came out and just stormed the field right out of the gates. So had that one really solid round. Scotty Scheffler, I mean, I'm hoping people continue on with the trend of not playing guys after they win because something clicked with this guy. And, AP, your point early on, I really like these dudes were rattled last week with that wind and the tough setup. Scotty Scheffler never looked rattled at all. He just went through the motions, played solid golf, and the results were obviously there. He won the event. It's only 9.2K. And you don't need him to win at 9.2K. If you tell me right now Scotty Scheffler gets a top 10, I'd be happy with that. So at 9.2, you don't need another win. He's playing phenomenal golf, playing the best golf, honestly, of anyone. A win, 7th, and a win. I like the course for him. He's really any course fits. I mean, his game just can really transcend to any type of setup. So love him. Definitely not a Spieth week. I'll be off Spieth. So again, a loaded range, a lot of solid guys here. Scheffler, Xander, Hideki, Cantlay, all guys that I have interest in, all guys that will be owned this week. But like we said at the opening, looking like another week where ownership gets spread out. So strong range here for sure.
Yeah, with Spieth. So I'm was listening to PGA Radio, and Man, God, these guys are like trying to like find every like reason to play Speed. Talking about the weather. Oh, U.S. or Open Championship, and this is nothing like an Open Championship. Like nothing like weather with a Pete Dye mix and at this track, like very different animal. Like if anything, it like compounds the type of mistakes that a guy like Jordan Spieth is going to make. But to your average person, if you didn't know that, like you could get sucked into that narrative. So yeah, Spieth just even a 9K, he's gonna suck people in, I think, at that price tag. But man, I'd definitely rather play Scotty Scheffler. I agree with a lot that you said in this range, which I like. Snyder, what are you doing with the 9K range?
Yeah, this is a range I'm looking to make some tough cuts in. I think I want to play only 3 of these guys in this range, which is going to be kind of tough getting down to the 3, but I think I've got 3 guys that I'm pretty confident in. Patrick Cantlay, I think he's going to be like the most popular guy in this range, and I think I'm fine just being off him this week. He has now lost strokes. Yeah, he's lost strokes in 3 of his. Yes.
No.
I'm not playing Patrick Cantlay this week.
But do you think he's going to be? I thought he was going over like.
I think he'll definitely be the highest guy in this range.
You think he'll be the highest?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, the way I look, I think it'll be pretty spread out between all 4 of those guys.
I'm not. My thing is the only
people
guy
love Hideki too.
Yeah,
but when you get ownership wise though, real quick, like I want your guys' opinion on it. The only guy that I think is going to be very very high owned is Daniel Berger, and I like that play. He's just mispriced, but like I don't know. I guess we'll see, but. Yeah, Cantlay just I
do agree with me. Yeah, I mean, we always advocate for making the tough cuts for sure and getting off guys, but I don't think any of these guys in this range is going to be like mega chalk. I agree. I think Berger is the one guy that will have substantial ownership out of everyone in the field.
I got you.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just not going to go to Cantlay here. I'm going to make the tough cut.
So what was the stat? You said he hasn't been good on the approach?
He's now lost strokes approach in 3 of his last 4 events, and he's missed the cut here in the last 2 years. So I'm just going to kind of use that. I think he's what I see. He's not great at hitting fairways either. He's 58th over the last 24 rounds, 51st in greens and regulations in the last 50 rounds. So I'm just kind of I think he's personally going to hit like 15-20%, but I could be way off there, but I'm just going to cut him out. I think in a one event sample size, like Xander and Hideki can absolutely equal his performance pretty easily, I think. So I'm just going to go with the cheaper guys in both Xander. I know I got to keep calling him Xander just to troll everyone.
Oh, man, it gets me.
You got to go with the JT Hayes theory. Like, if you do it once, you have to stick with it.
I got a big T calling.
Can you at least bring back Kopak? What do you say?
Kopecky. I may have to. Yeah.
You got to bring that back this week too, because I know you're playing.
I may have to.
I had someone DM me like, does Snyder actually know like how to pronounce these names? And I'm like, he's doing it right.
Yeah. I talked to his parents, and that's how the pronunciation came out. I even got Big T to start calling Hideki. He was like, "Why do you always calling him Hideki?" He's like, "I actually like that better. I'm gonna start calling him that." So. But Xander finished second here a couple years ago, has a couple missed cuts the last 2, but he enters with pretty solid form. 13th at the Genesis, 3rd at the Waste Management, gained over 3 strokes approach in both those events. I think this is a fair price tag for him for his upside. I do kind of worry about him, like if it comes down to the stretch, like we saw what he did at Augusta when it was on the line there, hitting in the water. I mean, we could definitely see a carbon copy of that on 17, but I'm going to go to Xander. I'm going to play Hideki. He's 7th in strokes gained tee to green over his last 24 rounds, has finished top 20 in 5 of his last 7 events, including 2 wins. So he's got that win equity that I'm looking for. It's been great off the tee with the iron. Just needs to knock down a little more putts. He shot 2 under on Sunday last week. It was one of the only, I think there was only like 2 or 3 scores under par. Hideki had one of them. First round leader here in 2020 when they canceled. I think he had like a 4 or 5 shot lead that year as well, or something like that. It was pretty crazy. He's minus 120 over DJ and minus 118 over Berger in the betting markets. Cam Smith's the guy that I'm not quite sure on yet. I think he's the guy that I'll probably end up making the cut on just because his off the tee game scares me here. he misses too many fairways, and there's just too much trouble off the tee here. I think Cam Smith could find the trouble here. Definitely going back to Scotty Scheffler, though. He's coming off his second win in 3 starts, and it's just kind of like ho-hum. He didn't seem like too happy. I mean, he was smiling and everything, but he wasn't like going crazy celebrating and everything.
He just like gave his caddy like a fist bump and like,
yeah,
cool, we got the
he's
win.
Like, yeah, nice. I won again. Let's go.
He's made over $4 million in the last like couple months. Like, and he's
I like that mentality though, because that shows me like he expects to, to be there at the end of these golf tournaments.
And then that first win, he came back that next week to a tough Genesis course, tough field, and he finished 7th there. I mean, I can definitely see him doing that again this week. So I'm going to be on Scheffler, Xander, and Hideki in this range, I think.
Where's he at in the world golf rankings? Because I know these guys all want.
He's top 5 now. Scotty is.
Is he top? Okay, so he's. I mean, I think that's the thing that these guys will win a lot of money. Like they don't necessarily care about that anymore. It's that world number 1. Like
that's what like Morikawa was saying on that podcast. He's like, the next goal I have is I want to be number 1 in the world. He's like, I don't really care about anything else. It's like the next goal for me is to be number 1. He's like, that's my dream. That's been my dream forever, and hopefully this week.
Yeah, I like that. No, good breakdown, Snyder. Cantlay. So starting there, I thought he was going to go a little bit under the radar here. Just hasn't played well here. Coming off 2 missed cuts. Doesn't even have a top 20 here. I thought that alone would push his own ownership down. But what I'm seeing is a 4th at the Century, 9th at the Amex, a T4 at Pebble, 2nd at the his form is really good outside of a few different things. And, the thing that I kind of think this week when we're talking about wins, we see these guys come in with good form relative to like how they're finishing on the leaderboards, and then they get their win. And it doesn't necessarily like they don't have to have that history here. Like Rory won off missing the cut. JT always profiled very well, but didn't have the success until he won here. So Patrick Cantlay was the guy I'm looking at. I think he's underpriced. I think he definitely should be in the 10K range. So I think alone we're getting value there. He's putting the ball really well. And if we get wind, I know he's a guy that's going to go about his business, and he's not going to get tilted by the weather. So he's a guy that I have interest in. We're not playing DJ this week. I mean, you can. I just like I don't know. We don't even know if he's like practicing. Like we have heard like nothing from DJ. So I'm going to be off of him. Hideki, I like. He has good history here. Has also missed the cut a few times, but as a guy that profiles very well, has winning upside at a track like this. And finally, he's under 10K. I feel like the last few times we've done the show, when Hideki is in the conversation, he's always over 10K. He's always one of the top 5 highest priced guys. He's not that anymore. So I have interest. Xander, I'm not worried about the 2 missed cuts. He's another guy that profiles that like he could get a win here. He already has the T2, so he's shown he can do it at this course. He's missed a couple cuts. That's fine. That's going to take people off of him. But if you look at his form, a T3 at the Phoenix Open, a T13 at the Genesis, and a 12th place finish at the Century, I think he's a guy that would benefit from high wind, bad weather, a guy that's just going to grind it out. Like I think Xander, to win the Players Championship, needs it to be an event where scoring is low. Like I don't think he's going to win like a Birdie Fest type Players Championship that we've seen in the past. So I have interest in him this week as well. Scotty Scheffler, I'm just going to have him in my player pool. I'm not playing Spieth. Cam Smith is one guy that I've checked too. So, I mean, a lot of guys check. I mean, honestly, that's like only 2 fades, which I do need to cross someone else out in this range. But Cam Smith, this guy has shown so much upside. And if the weather's going to be bad, if we're going to have wind, he's a guy I trust. Like, imagine if Cam Smith finishes, Thursday, Friday, and he's like right there, maybe 7th or 8th, maybe 2 or 3 back, and we have a forecast for like 20 to 30 mile an hour winds. I mean, you're gonna want exposure to him. So I have some interest in him. I got to say, though, Cantlay and Hideki are the two guys I'm looking at in this range. Xander, a very, very close third. And it's really tough, I'll be honest, to rank them. But who? Did you have a 1 and 2 in this range?
It's going to be Scotty number 1 at 9-2. I'm just going to keep playing him. I mean, who knows? Maybe he's like a top 5 golfer. It could be. I mean, the world rankings say it's a top 5 golfer. I mean, 9-2 just seems too cheap for me. And then I'll go Cantlay. I like Cantlay a lot.
Snyder, what's your 1 and 2 in this range?
I did get you to call Xander once, and you didn't even realize it. So that was awesome.
I realized it.
I'm gonna go Hideki 1 and Scotty 2.
I like that. What was that?
Well, no, you can go.
If you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us out each and every week. We have a promo going on right now. It is Players 33. That's going to get you 33% off your first payment over here at Run Pure Sports. That includes our Saber packages. Go over to the website, runpuresports.com. Check that out. Take advantage of that promo if you are not a member. Who take us down into the 8K range, another range that I think there are some clear top plays in.
Yeah. It's a tough range for me, honestly. At the top, you have Daniel Berger at 8.8. We already talked about it. He's probably going to be the highest owned guy on the slate. Just phenomenal play. Just a bad price on him, 8.8. I mean, he could easily be in that upper 9K range and still in play. I mean, kind of fell apart there at the Honda, had that 5-shot lead and just completely just dusted it off in the 4th round. But he was playing such solid golf, like just he dominated that entire event until round 4, and something got to him. But I'll be going back at 8.8. He's just too good. Just you want well-rounded golfers. I mean, he's just like JT, a little below JT, a little below Morikawa, same type of game. Just a small little tier below those guys. I have a lot of guys here that I still don't know what I'm going to do with, like Zalatoris at 8.9. Like, I prefer all the guys in the 9K range. I prefer Berger, but I kind of want some Zalatoris. It's just a matter when I go to make my teams, if I can get enough Zalatoris for it to make sense. So haven't decided on Zalatoris. If you go with like Louis Oosthuizen, and you're either a Louis guy or you're not a Louis guy, like I just never play him. And I won't be playing him this week. Kopeka at 8.6K. Again, another guy I don't know what I'm going to do with. I'm kind of, going to lean on you guys with Brooks. I know what Snyder's doing, but I want to see what Birthday Boy has to say about Kopeka. So at 8.6, it's a fair price tag, a little above the average roster spot for a golfer. I think there's some intrigue there. Finau, love Tony Finau. He's been one of my favorite golfers since I started playing PGA DFS, but got to see something with him. He's just heading in the wrong direction. Not many signs of life. It's still a price tag where he's got to do something at 8.5. Like I really would have liked to see I'd like to see DK put him in the 7K range and then, make it a tougher decision at 8.5. I don't know if I want to go there. Neiman, probably won't have much Neiman, but I do like these guys towards the bottom though. Adam Scott at 8.2. Just seems like a good price tag for him. Billy Horschel, big regret not playing him last week, but continues to play phenomenal golf. 8.1, another Florida course for him. There's definitely some interest. And then Shane Lowry, if this is going to play tough, if this win comes up, that Shane Lowry is one guy that could stand to benefit the most from tougher conditions at 8K. So, as the week goes on, if these conditions are looking very tough, like I'm going to continue to bump Lowry. That's when he excels. We saw it at the Honda, like the T2, like he excels at tough tracks, tough conditions. If this weather report holds, like I'm going to, bump my Lowry exposure the harder this course looks like it's going to play this week. So a lot of clear plays for me in this range, but a few that I really haven't decided on. So curious to get your guys' take here.
Yeah. Berger, I think we're all going to agree. I guess we'll see what Snyder says, but I just think he's, like the best play in this range. But I'll get to that. Snyder, 8K range, like Hoop said, a lot of good guys down here to consider. What are you doing with these players?
Yeah, I have a couple that I know I'm gonna play here, but then I'm unsure on some of these other guys that I need to really take tomorrow and decide on how much and who I want to play here. I mean, Will Zalatoris, I think he could go under-owned here. Maybe people could pass on him. He's kind of in that price tag above. He's right above Berger, right above Brooks, right above Louis, right above Finau, Neiman. Some of those guys are right under him. I could see them just kind of moving him aside, and he looked absolutely atrocious last week. Minus the first round where he played really good. He made some putts that first round, and then the rest of the event he kind of went to shit there. He is a minus 126 favorite over Hatton in the betting markets, but he's also priced $1,100 more than Hatton, so it doesn't really make too much sense there. Daniel Berger.
Sorry, who is that?
Terrell Hatton.
Hatton. No,
but
who are you talking about as the favorite?
Will Zalatoris is favorite over Hatton,
yeah,
but he's quite a bit priced higher, so gotta take that with a grain of salt there. But I think Daniel Berger is absolutely a great play here. I think he's had time to shake off that little meltdown he had at Honda. Still finished T5 in 2 of his last 4 events. Has made his last 5 cuts here, 2 top 10s, including a 9th place finish last year. Top 10 in approach, ball striking, tee to green, and fairways gained over his last 24 rounds. I think he's just way too underpriced here. I'll be overweight on him. He's a minus 120 favorite over Cam Smith in the betting markets, and he's a $600 less than Cam Smith as well. So just another reason I like Berger. I do like Mr. Big Dick Brooks here. I think this is a great spot for him. Once again, he's underpriced here. We always see it's usually the first major that he's criminally underpriced like this because he has that quote unquote underperform. People think he underperforms, but he's finished 16th at the Honda, did miss the cut, finished 3rd at the Waste Management Open, but I think there's a lot of money here. This is like the quote unquote 5th major. He always comes out for these deals. He's in Florida, loves Florida, has finished 16th or better in 2 of his last 3 trips here. So he's got some decent course here. And I plugged in, I wanted to see who the best players were on Pete Dye courses over the last 4 seasons. And Mr. Brooks Kopecky was right on top of that list. So another reason I like him. So I'm going with the Mr. BDB there. Sung Jae's ranking well in the ball striking models. Enters with solid form, 20th, miscut, 33rd, 6th, 11th, and over his last 5 events. Finished top 20 here last year. I think he's fine here. He's a good iron. The iron play has been a slight worry, but he's actually it's gained or lost strokes last 3 of his last 4 events. But I think Sung Jae is a fine option here. Adam Scott, I think he's going to gain quite a bit of a popularity as the week goes. I've heard a lot of people mentioning his name. Good price tag for Adam Scott. Finished 12th or better in 4 of his last 5 trips to Sawgrass. So he's got absolutely great form here. Was 26th at the API, 4th at the Genesis. Kind of needs to figure out that around the green game mode, though, to contend here, but I think he can easily pay off that price tag. So I'll probably have some Scott. Billy Horschel, he was in contention last week, but faded on Sunday. Loves this Florida golf swing. I'm kind of a little worried about Billy being kind of fatigued after last week, and he was in that, had all that emotion going, and I think he may have kind of overexerted himself. He might come out a little flat here, so I think I might be off Billy here. He is a minus 120 favorite over Taylor Gooch in the betting markets. Definitely like Shane Lowry here. I think he's the guy that could adapt well in these possible poor conditions. I mean, he's a grinder. He can grind out these tough conditions, I think, really well. Gained nearly 7 strokes approach in his second place finish at the Honda. He gains nearly 2 strokes on average in very windy conditions as well. Even money against Matthew Fitzpatrick and a minus 120 favorite over Will Zalatoris. So definitely we'll have some Shane Lowry this week.
Yeah, I mean, I just got to admit it. I said Billy Horschel was a bad play last week. Snyder said he was the best play in that range. So just
I said bad.
I said
wrong. Bad too. I was with you.
Yeah, I was wrong. Who was wrong? Snyder was correct. I kind of like him this week. so all right. Like, how is Shane Lowry like not more fatigued than like Billy Horschel's a fit dude? Shane Lowry's so fat. Like, nothing against fat dudes. I'm not in the best shape, either. But like when you watch him, it's like, God, that guy is a big dude, but he hits the ball well. They were showing slow-mos of like him hitting the ball, and it's just so.
He didn't play last week though.
Or no, I mean,
Or
this
Lowry.
was at the the Honda, the Honda when he was battling there in contention. So you're right though. Okay, yeah, I was wrong there. Shane, but anyway, I was on Shane Lowry. So I think in this range, like there are two and I'm really glad that you said that about Brooks Koepka, because I had two plays here identified. One is just the overall, when you factor in price, form, coming off a tough, like, gosh, he should have won the Honda. Should have won that, but he's had, at time to relax, figure it out, get off of his tilt, whatever you want to call it. And he's underpriced here. Like, man, like he was through 3 rounds. He was incredible, absolutely incredible. Berger is a guy I just want to lock in. Like, I want to lock into every single one of my builds, get as overweight on the field as I can. I just think if we have weather, he's the best play, price factored in. He's hitting the ball so well. He's hitting fairways, 7th in the field, hitting fairways, 7th on approach relative to this stacked field. The other guy that I think is just the overall best play, by just knowing that now we have a massive purse. We have the best. This is basically like a major, in my opinion. He excels on Pete Dye tracks, and he lives in Florida, and that's Brooks Koepka. 8,600 is criminal, and people are going to fade him. Like, I think people are going to fade him, make fun of him as a play, and that's what we want. If people are doing that, that's what we want. He's the other guy. Like, if you lock in Brooks Koepka and Berger, let's say you're running 150, okay? And let's just say you lock both of them in. Sure, one of them can miss the cut, you're done. On to next week. However, you lock them in, they both give you winning upside. They both allow you to potentially get up to like a John Rahm. I don't know if you can actually do that, but I'm just kind of doing it in my head. You'd have to skip the whole 9K and 10K range, but you would get two guys, one that has a bunch of majors, and the other that I think is playing phenomenal golf right now. And that you could, have a ton of flexibility in your build. So those are two guys that I just think are potentially some of the best plays that we could have this week. I'm not playing Tony Finau. Neiman seems like, man, overpriced. I'm not playing Neiman. Sung Jam and Scott, I don't know. I would rather have Brooks Koepka and Berger, and then Shane Lowry. I have a ton of interest in him. And then, Snyder, you know what? Like, Billy Horschel's been playing some phenomenal golf here. I do think this is a good ball striker's course, but the fatigue is a concern. So I'm kind of with you on that. I'm just going to go into it and say, Daniel Berger, top overall play in this range. Brooks Koepka, I think, is the best tournament play on the slate. Snyder, you're 1 and 2 in this range?
Yeah, I'm going to be with Brooks 1 and then Daniel Berger 2. I mean, I just don't want to overthink this. I think those two are just way too underpriced in this range. So I'm just going to be overweight on those two.
Brooks was hurt with the wrist issue last year, right? Didn't play.
I think so. Something like that. Yeah.
Outside of that, made every single cut here since 2016.
Nice.
And 5th major. And I think a Players Championship to his resume has to be something that he thinks is, something that he needs. Hoop, you're 1 and 2, then take us into the 7K range.
Berger 1, and then I'm going to go Shane Lowry 2. I think we do see those tough conditions this week, and I think he can excel in those conditions. 7K range, pretty big range here. Actually, not a lot of guys between 7.9 and 7.6, which is weird. There's only like 5 guys, and then there's a ton at like 7.5 and below. The top of this range, Matthew Fitzpatrick definitely stands out, playing phenomenal golf. You look at it last week, I think he made, 7 birdies and finished he finished 8th place or something, right? Ninth place. I mean, he just finds a way to navigate through these courses and do what he needs to do. An incredible run of golf for him. 7.7K is like 35 or 40 to 1 in the betting market. So I think a very strong play. The guys at the top, Burns, I don't know. I mean, he was fine last week, but overall, lately it has not been great. Last week, a little bit fluky with those tougher conditions and whatnot. So probably won't be on Burns. Hatton's a guy I haven't decided on yet. Keep coming down. Max Homa and playing very solid golf, 7.5K, top 20 in 3 straight events, kind of riding the heater. Leishman, another guy that's been very solid. Last week he just blew up on the weekend, but I'm almost willing to give those guys a pass that just blew up on the weekend. I mean, there's so many of them that just completely blew up. He was one of them, but prior to last week, very solid. Gary Woodland, I mean, this is that pricing range. The week that AP had Sepp Straka, there's 4 guys at 7.4K that were in play. This week, again, 7.4K, and I think there's 4 guys, Woodland, Garcia, Paul Casey, who will probably be after Berger, probably one of the highest owned guys on the slate, and then Russell Henley and Fleetwood, I guess, too. So there's 5 guys at 7.4K. You got to kind of pick and choose. I mean, Woodland back-to-back top 5. Sergio Garcia, really good course history here. Paul Casey, just criminally underpriced at 7.4. Similarly, though, to Leishman, just blew up on the – I mean, he blew up more than anyone. He shot 77 and then 83 on Sunday. So just complete blow up. Can he erase that, move on, and play well here? I think so. So, I'll be definitely on Paul Casey. My boy Tringali really hurt my feelings last week. I mean, 7.3K this week, but man, he had a quad, I believe, in that first round and then just never recovered. So go 78, dead last, right? I mean, he didn't make the cut, but I mean, that was like the worst score, 12 over through those first 2 rounds, which were the easier rounds. Corey Connors, we saw some signs of life from Corey Connors, which was encouraging last week. I'm a Corey Connors guy. He's 7.3K. I can definitely get on board, I think, with Connors at 7.3. Kokrak going to continue to play. Seamus Power, I hope people play Power this week. I mean, I don't know who it was. I believe it was Snyder that kind of called this out. Just crushes these birdie fests, these easy, weak field events, comes to these tougher tracks, and just implodes. And we saw it again last week. He played awful last week. So he's a name that people will probably click this week, but definitely not for me. Cameron Young, I mean, this is like the 3rd week in a row we've come on here and said this guy's the real deal. And, I mean, he just showed up again last week. I mean, 13th at the Arnold Palmer. Shot a 72 in round 4, which was actually had to be one of the better rounds on Sunday. 72 was relatively solid. So played great in those tough conditions. We get tough conditions again this week. Taylor Gooch is a guy I have some interest in down here. I think I'll probably go back to like Keith Mitchell at 7.1K, a guy that made the cut and he shot the 78 on Saturday, which just totally took him out of contention. But again, very tough conditions. Mav McNeely hurt our feelings last week, 7K flat, but another one of those guys that just got crushed on the weekend. 76, 79, 14 over par. Don't know what I'm going to do with him yet. I mean, this has been our guy for a while, but last week was pretty hurtful. Chris Kirk continues to just play very solid golf, 3 weeks in a row. Guy that really, that I watched last weekend that really wasn't rattled at all. 68 on Saturday with the conditions, very tough, and then a 72 on Sunday, which again was a very good score for Sunday. So wasn't rattled in those tough conditions. Do we think we get tough conditions this week? Yeah, probably. I'll be back on Kirk for sure. And then Alex Noren, a guy I really don't play, but now he's 7K, a guy that kind of plays tougher tracks better, coming off a T5 at the Honda Classic, 7K flat. I have interest. So, a ton of guys in this range, rattled off some of the guys that I have interest in. A lot of fades obviously in here as well, but a solid range.
Yeah, it is a solid range. I do got to say, Jason Kokrak, the guy's told us he loves money. Like the Saudi tour, like he came out, he was not shy. He said, I want to retire by the time I'm like 44. I want to make as much money as I can. If I'm him, one, he played well in the windy conditions last week. That was one thing that benefited him. Two, he's done better here each and every year with Drew and then missed a cut, then 47th, and then a T9 in 2021. So I had to sneak that in before we went to Snyder because I love Jason Kokrak. I think he's a potential workbench type of guy for sure. Snyder, 7K range. What are you doing down here?
Yeah, I like quite a few guys in this range. First off, Terrell Hatton has terrible course history here. I think he may get overlooked. He did well last week, and he did well recent form coming in here. He's missed 3 of his cuts here, though, but he did well last week, finished second last week. Shot 78 in his third round and still finished second. Had a couple good finishes overseas before coming over to the API. He's kind of he was one of the guys on Sunday. He shot 69 on Sunday. I think there was only 2 guys that broke 70 on Sunday, so he's one of those guys. I think he can grind out the tough conditions too, kind of like Lowry can. So I definitely think it's a really good price tag on him. I think he'll be like under 10%. So I'm going to have some Hatton. I think you can play him at 15% and be pretty well overweight on him. Definitely going to be on him. Matthew Fitzpatrick, it's another guy who kind of fell victim to the soft pricing this week. Only 7,700. Finished 9th last year here. He's fared better here since the move to March too. So I definitely think that's something to consider with him. Top 20 and off the tee and ball striking over his last 24 rounds. Ranks out really well in windy and difficult conditions as well. Ranks 5th on dive tracks over the past 4 seasons. Recent form, 6th, 10th, and 9th. And he averaged over 9 strokes gained total in those events as well. And this price tag is only 7,700. So sign me up there. He's even money against Lowry in the betting markets. Abe Ansher finished 22nd and 12th here, but the form isn't the best of me. He does play well on these die tracks, so I'm not sure if I'm going to play Answer yet or not. And the same goes for Webb Simpson. He's a past winner here. Has 3 finishes of 16th or better in his last 4 trips here, but I think I need to dig in a little bit more on the health of him and where he stands from that standpoint. So I'm going to wait a little bit on Webb there. Fleetwood, 7th or better in 2 of his last 3 trips, but he did miss the cut here last year. Finished 20th last week, but he gained over 5 strokes putting. The ball striking's been off for him the last 2 events. He only hit 58% of his greens in regulation at Honda, and then he only hit 45% of his greens last week at the API. So I think if he gets steamed up a little bit, he's a guy I can jump off of there. So I don't think I probably won't end up on him. Paul Casey, he's another guy, criminally low priced here. Just had a horrible weekend last week. Shot 77.83. I mean, he probably just gave up on Sunday after shooting that 77. At least is where I'm gonna kind of go by. Hopefully. But he could be that chalk piece that misses the cut. Every year we see some high-owned guys miss the cut. Will Casey miss the cut? I mean, that's out there. I think he's a cash game lock, though, so I'll play him in cash for sure. Did well overseas before coming over here. Siwoo Kim, past winner here in 2017, finished 9th last year. He loves dive tracks, too. I definitely think I'll be playing Siwoo this week. He's made 9 of his last cuts. Finished 26 or better in 4 of his last 5 events, too. He's minus 134 over Jason Kokrak in the betting markets, too. So definitely going to have some Siwoo. I'm definitely going to have some Kokrak, though, as well. 26 or better in his last 3 events. And if he wants to make money, he shoots another top 10 here. He's going to make well over $500,000. So definitely think he's got that winning upside, too. He won twice last year. Nice value at 7,300. You're going to have some Jason Kokrak. Cam Young, I mean, why jump off now? 6 straight made cuts, 5 inside the top 26. In his last 3 events, he's went T16 or better. Very strong off the tee. The putter's been there for him as well. He's minus 120 over Mav. So I'm going to play Young over Mav this week. Russell Knox, I think he's a fine guy down there. He's made his last 4 cuts, but continues to struggle with the short game. Lost nearly 5 strokes around the green last week. I do think he's got some decent upside here for like a top 20 or something. Tom Hoagie, showed some upside quite a bit over his last 4 months or so. He's shown really good upside. Fourth at the RSM, second at the MX, winner at Pebble. Followed that up with the 14th at the Phoenix Open. Finished 32nd last week. Been really good off the tee. 22nd here last year and 30th in 2019. So I could see playing some Tom Hoagie. Chris Kirk's just been real steady for us as of late. He's made his last 4 cuts here too. Enters in great form. 5th, 7th, and 14th in his last 3 events. Gained strokes across the board in his last 3 events too. Like Kirky. Noren's another guy I'm going to be on here. A couple solid finishes here. He's finished inside the top 6 in 2 of his last 3 events. The approach play has improved in his last 4 events too, so I like that. Minus 110 versus Jason Kokrak in the betting market, so I'm going to have Noren as well. And I think that's about it for me in this 7K range. Might add some more guys if I need to, like maybe Ian Poulter. I think he's a guy that could grind out these conditions. Not playing Power, not playing Sahith. I don't think I'm going to get to Gooch. Maybe Luke List. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, very good. So I watched Sam Burns closely last week, and I think he got lucky, like really lucky. Made a ton of putts. I don't think he played that good at all. And the reason I bring that up is 7-9 kind of feels like a trap. I don't know if he'll get a ton of ownership, but I'm going to be off of him. I could see people going to him, though, as a name. I'd much rather have Fitzpatrick down in this range. Another guy that's just made 3 cuts here in a row. Has gotten better each and every time. T9 last year. And he's playing really good and would benefit if I think if the weather gets bad. T9 at the API last week. The form is just incredible. Like if you start your build, all right. So if you've never played PGA out there, like start your build with Berger, Koepka, and Fitzpatrick. You got 8.3 left. Like you're starting off ahead of the field, in my opinion. Just 3 solid plays all around. And then going down here, we have Webb Simpson, a former winner, who I think people will play because he's 7'6". They're going to think Webb. Like, if I hadn't been watching golf, I would be like, Webb is a no-brainer. We should, lock him in. Webb hasn't even been practicing. Shout out to a member in chat, posted, and this is why I love our Discord, posted a selfie.
That was a good note there.
So his neighbor for the week, that's what he said, right? So he must live out there and maybe Webb's renting a house next to him. Is that how you take it, Hoop?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Yeah, so really cool stuff. He was telling us that Webb said he hadn't even been practicing that much. So, I mean, I don't know, like hasn't been playing good, hasn't been practicing. I'm not going to play him. I'm going to X him out of my pool. Max Homa. So then people, kind of get, I've already looked in Discord and seen a ton of questions about like Abe Answer. Abe Answer would fit the mold. I think is a guy that if we're thinking back to last year, that we would want to play in a spot like this. I'm not sold. Like I haven't seen a lot of the stuff that I want to see from him, at this price tag. I think with how he's playing, he doesn't have anything. He doesn't even have a top 30 in his last 5 events. He has a missed cut and a bunch of T40s. And I'm not buying it. I'd rather play Max Homa. Max Homa, ball striker, very good on approach. He's actually has to be leading. I think the field and approach over his last 3 events, or very close. I mean, he made a hole-in-one last week. The guy's dialed in. I know he doesn't profile. He profiles much better out on the West Coast than the East Coast. That's starting to change though with his T17 at the API. So Max Homa, a guy I'm looking at. Leishman, yeah, you can definitely play. Tommy, I don't know. I should probably just X out Tommy Fleetwood. I always get in trouble with Tommy Fleetwood. I don't know with this guy anymore. So I'm just gonna skip over him for now. I don't want to lead it. Like the guy pisses me off. Sergio Garcia. This is Big T's been talking about him. This is the guy that we want to play at this event. Helped Big T win $1 million last year. I think he was look good like this, like T5. Whoo, man. And or no, that was Gary Woodland. T39, T38. The thing about Sergio that I want to bring up is he was scoring. He was just making these dumb mistakes. Like he would miss, a few short putts, or, I think he had a couple water balls that I saw. So I like how that sets up for Sergio coming into this event, one that he's done very well in the past. So I have a ton of interest in Sergio. Gary Woodland, what I was going to get into was the T5, Florida swing, starting to play good. Snyder, what do you think? I mean, we got to get on him, right?
I think Mr. JJ from the Bed Show calls him Gary Waterland, and there's a lot of water here. So
there was a lot of water last week and the week before. Snyder.
I think he's fine. Yeah, I mean, he's a guy I could throw in my 150 for sure.
So I like, if we do think the weather's going to get bad, I like him. If the weather's not bad, I don't like him. But like he played so well. He was kind of like Scotty Scheffler last week. I don't think he was fazed by the weather. I think it helps him. Like I think some of these guys that are mentally tough that have won majors, like Brooks Koepka, like Gary Woodland, they benefit from bad weather. I think
I do feel bad for Gary Woodland. Did you see where he went eagle and then he got trapped in the bunker and this chunk that bunker shot? I kind of feel bad for him there.
Yeah, it was tough to watch. It really was.
But either way, I think he's a good play this week. I got another question for you guys. Paul Casey, 7-4. I don't think I can play him after seeing that. Like he just, man. I mean, like.
Well, I mean, you got to make the decision. Cause I mean, there's a lot of guys that really went into last weekend and completely shit the bed. Like, can they clear their head of that and move on and play? I mean, there's a group of guys that kind of fit that same category. I mean, it really depends on what you think about these guys. Paul Casey, the guy that we've seen just check out in the past. Like if he gets off to a rough start, like it's over for him. And I think he hit that rough patch on Saturday. He said, "Fuck it," I'm moving on. So I don't know. I mean, I could see the case both ways. I mean, I think Casey does come in pretty highly owned. So if you think that he's still going to be rattled and messed up from the weekend, then fading him does make a lot of sense here because, like I said, I think he does end up being one of the highest owned guys on the slate. I mean, he's one of the most mispriced. I mean, he could easily be in that 8K range and be considered to play this week. So it's an interesting topic.
Yeah, he's a guy that I'm just gonna. I really want to see where the team's at on him because I don't feel good about him. But if he ends up being underowned, then I think we get on him. If he ends up being very popular, I think I would rather probably move off maybe for Sergio or Siwoo. I like the Siwoo call Snyder. I'll be on him. And then one of my favorite plays, I already mentioned him in this range, is Jason Kokrak. I like how he played in the win last week, a ball striking specialist. I think the player sets up very well for his game. I think he could be a player's champion. Just, how we see random guys win here, people that are able to hit fairways and then use their elite iron play to just, grind out pars when the conditions get tough. I think Jason Kokrak is a guy that could do that. He's also a guy that just, if it gets bad, he could just ship it in. So that's the risk that comes with him. But 7,300, absolutely love him at this price tag. Corey Connors, I'm interested in him as well. I like what I saw at the API. I had him as a fade last week too. So, I mean, but he proved me wrong. Good ball striker. And you got to like what we saw. So interest in him. Cameron Young, you guys said it best on him. We're playing him each and every week. This is a guy that makes cuts and tries hard each and every week. And 7,200, he's getting cheaper. And I don't think he's going to be owned. So tons of interest in him. That kind of, for me, rounds this range out. I think there might be, maybe, Chris Kirky would be the other guy, definitely down here at a flat 7K. But honestly, what I want to do is make a ton of cuts in this range. I want to cut I'll probably cut your boy Matt McNeely. Sorry, Snyder. Doc Redman, Russell Knox. I'm going to make a ton of cuts in this range, and I'm going to get it overweight a lot of these guys that we talked about. So For me, to sum it up, my 1 and 2, Coke Rack number 1 right out of the gate. And then my number 2, I'm going to go, it's close between Fitzpatrick and Homa. So I'm going to leave it at that. Snyder, you 1 and 2?
I'm going to go Fitzpatrick 1 and Siwoo Kim 2.
Very good. Hoop, you're 1 and 2. Then we'll get to the 6K range, and which I think should be much shorter, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Fitzpatrick as well, and then just going to continue to ride our boy Cam Young. Just continues to crush every week, so that's my 1-2. Yeah, 6Ks, it's a little bit different this week. I mean, we typically come down here and find guys we like. It drops off, and honestly, just looking at the names between some of these low 7 guys and then the high 6 guys, there's a pretty substantial difference in talent. So, if you don't like the 6K range, I think you can end a lot of teams in the 7. But just to rattle off some guys that I do have some interest in, Patton Kizzire, I've been playing a lot of him. He continues just to play solid golf. I mean, he's made 4 out of his last 5 cuts, had a 22nd, a 10th mixed in there. Mito at 6'7", back-to-back pretty solid performances, 15th and 30th. I think he's pretty appealing. Fratelli's a guy you can play. Adam Hadwin, I think back-to-back solid starts here. I believe top 20 or top 25 in his last 2. He's a guy that can just pop up and play pretty well. And typically, if he makes the cut, he has a pretty solid finish. And 25th cut, 16th, 26th cut. If he finishes 25th, you'll take that all day at 6.5K. Bo Hostler, playing very solid. I mean, 4 of his last 5 cuts, and 3 of those inside the top 20. So that's a guy that definitely we can play. Thomas Peters all the way down at 6'3". I'll definitely have some of him. KH Lee, I think, is appealing at 6'3". Tyler, is it Taylor Pendrith? Taylor Pendrith at 6'2". And then our boy Postman down here at 6.1K. I'll definitely have a little bit of him. Again, though, I mean, the main point here is this is not the greatest range, and there is a lot of risk with these guys. This is an event where, a name is probably going to win. So when you come down here, you're not looking for a guy to compete. You're looking for a guy to make the cut. More times than not, these guys are going to miss the cut, though. So a lot of risk down here in the 6K range.
Yeah, and the thing that when you think about it from a roster construction standpoint, the reason you're playing a guy down in this range is to be able to get a guy like John Rahm, a guy like Rory. Well, if what's been happening continues to happen, and if Rory can, if Rory, doesn't, fulfill his price tag, if John Rahm continues to struggle with the putter, if he doesn't win or get a top 3, it's kind of a moot point down here playing a 6K guy. It's the opportunity cost is too significant, in my opinion, with how weak pricing is, because we can get guys with winning upside in the 7K range. So that's why I agree with you, Hoop, 100%. This range for me is going to be one that I don't have a lot of exposure to. But Snyder, what are you doing with the 6K range?
Yeah, I kind of like Brian Harmon down here. He's where is he at? 6,800, 6,900. I think that's a really good price for him. Back-to-back top 10s here at Sawgrass since the event was moved to March. So I think he enjoys this time frame a little better. He won Big T $1 million last year. It looks like he's going to be right around that 5% owned again this year as he was last year. Hopefully people are shied away off that miscut at the Honda, but he had a couple good events before that. He's minus 120 versus Vegas in the betting markets. Keegan Bradley's been really solid as of late. Finished T30 in his last 3 trips here too. Actually gained strokes putting last week too, so that's always a plus for Keegan. Brandon Steele, I think he's a decent GBP option. He's got decent course history here. Finished 26th last week, and that was while even losing 6 strokes putting. I definitely like KH Lee down here. He's my favorite option in this range, aside from Harmon. 41st here last year. He's made his last 10 cuts, just super consistent, cheap punt play that I think will battle to make the cut. He's even money against Bubba in the betting markets. JT Poston finished 22nd in both March editions of the Players, has made 4 of his last 6 cuts in 2022. So I think he's a guy with some upside down there. I think Mito's fine. He was really consistent for us to end 2021. He's off back-to-back top 30 finishes, 15th at the Genesis and 30th at the Honda. I think he's a good win player too. So I'm going to be not on too many of these guys. I don't think it's necessary to really drop down here too much this week, but I'm definitely going to play a few of these guys.
Yeah, you know what? The more I think about it, for me, there's a good chance I just eliminate the whole 6K range. I have Dylan Fratelli checkmarked. I think he kind of profiles as someone that will be low owned with some upside down here. But when I look at it, and I just think about it, what are we doing by playing one of these guys? We're trying to get Jon Rahm and Rory. And I'm kind of leaning that I just might fade those two. I know Jon Rahm, best player in the world number 1. I know Rory, soft course conditions, and I know what I've said in the past about him, that I think he could return to world number 1. But doing the show with who makes me want to take a few steps back on that comment, because we got Scotty Scheffler. I got to remind myself, we got so many just talented guys that we're kind of seeing this change of the guard. So the idea of a Rory returning, I think, is would be good for golf, potentially, and it's nice on paper, but realistically, guys like Colin Morikawa, guys like Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas, I think are better than him right now. So, but with the 6K range, for me, when I go through here, Keegan Bradley. So I had him check mark. I think he's the guy that just gets, ownership in this range. And I don't know if I want to play a popular Keegan down here. And then when I go through here, I don't like a lot of guys. So I'm going to be very underweight on this range. When it comes to notebook play, I've had this, I've already mentioned him a few times. He's not in the 6K range. And you know what? It is what it is. I know the notebook play always comes from the 6K range, but if there's no dudes I like and I'm not going to be on them, then you can't make it a notebook play. So my notebook plays actually came from the 7K range. That's Jason Kokrak this week.
Oh, big news.
4K. Yeah, big news. Big news. But hoop, we can't. You have to be able.
Can't force it, man. You can't force it. You can't force it.
If here's what I think. Sure, could burn me with the weather and you could see random stuff. But if I just eliminate the 6K range, I feel like I'm gaining an edge on the field just alone by doing that. If I do that, and because I know that's gonna wipe out some ownership, I know that there are guys, Chris Kirk, Jason Kokrak, Sergio Garcia, course horse type guy, Cameron Young. Get overweight on those guys who I think are a little mispriced. I think is much better than going down to the 6K range. So I'm very confident that I'm probably just going to eliminate, probably 97%, 98% of the 6K range. So my only one right now is Dylan Fratelli. I got to leave it at that. I might leave him in my pool. Snyder, do you have a 1 and 2 down in this range?
Yeah, I'm going to go Harmon 1 and KH Lee 2. And I was kind of looking at something like for 20 max, I like to kind of lock 3 or 4 guys in. It's kind of tough to hit a 16 parlay, more or less is what you need to do for your full lineup. So I've kind of usually I lock one of these 6K guys in with it, and I'll pick a 10K guy, an 8K guy, and a 6K guy and try and hit that 3-team parlay. And I leaves myself right around 8K, 83, 8,400. Plug that over to SaberSim, and I'll try and just give myself as many outs as possible. It worked one time last year. I had, I think I won that $3, $20 max once. I just kind of treat that as one GPP and just see how that goes. So definitely, I think I'm going to lock KH Lee into that this week. So that allows me a lot of flexibility there.
That is, me and you were talking, Kate. That's my other guy. That I got to make sure I check mark. We were talking about that 6.3. He's yeah. So I have 2. My 2 is KH Lee that I stole from Snyder. Shout out to Snyder. Hoop 1 and 2 down in this range.
Oh man. Let me see here. Oh, the other guy I didn't mention is Munoz. I like Munoz, but 1 and 2 is going to be. I'm going to say one is posting all the way down there. Going super low, like you said, gives you an opportunity to get a couple guys at the top, and then I'll go Adam Hadley.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, regarding cash games, like, does it make sense to punt this week? But what I will say is a free show. Hoop has the cash chart coming out, so I don't want him to answer that question because it'll be in the it'll be in the cash chart tomorrow morning for members. So make sure to sign up for that, because if I was building cash games, I want John Rahm probably or a balance build. I actually don't know because I don't play cash, but if I was, I'd be using the cash chart. So all right, guys, let's get on to our winners, and then we'll sum it up, and then we'll get out of here. Snyder, who do you have winning this week? Just overall, and then a long shot.
I'm going to go with Brooks Koepka. I mean, I got him earlier in the week at 50-1, and it's all the way down to 35-1 at DraftKings now. But there's still some 40s out there. I think FanDuel had 39 yet, and I think like Bet365 actually boosted his odds, him and a couple other guys, back up to around that 50-1 number.
Oh,
what's that?
Go ahead. This is the
Brooks,
first time I'm looking at the odds. Sergio Garcia is 40-1. Holy shit.
I think I might go with your guy, Jason Kokrak, for a long shot. 90-1's really good odds there. I probably took your long shot, but
you did.
Sorry about that.
Come on, Snyder.
That's the guy I had wrote down, though. I have a couple guys wrote down. I got Morikawa at 16-1. I didn't want to give out a favorite. I like that Brooks price, but it's kind of tough to find now.
Oh man. All right. No, I'm gonna make a bold prediction in that Big T is gonna see that tomorrow and holy shit, Sergio Garcia's 40-1. How do we not lock him in? Which I agree with Big T. I hope he says that tomorrow, because
sounds like you're about to get some action, because Big T's entered the chat. He said he wants the field versus Brooks again, so you'll be set up.
There you go.
Oof, that didn't end well for him last time.
I can't wait for the show tomorrow night. It'll be a good one. No, Sergio, I mean that. Like I'll take it a step further. If you've never played PGA before, just go in there and look at 40-1. Go look at the 7.4K price tag, and just realize that something is off there, and that Sergio Garcia is definitely in play. Hoop, who do you got winning this week?
Going all the way to the top, and I'm going with Snyder's boy. I think Morikawa ships it this week. Like him a lot. I mean, the odds aren't great. I mean, probably 15-1 in that range, but I really like him. Long shot type pick. Going back to my boy Corey Connors. Looked pretty good last week. I think he gets it. Together. I do like the Kokrak call as well, but I'm going to go Corey Connors. Gets it all together this week and makes a run at it.
Yeah, so for me, one of my plays was, but I got to back up, so we're good. Man, I'm going to go just overall. I think Patrick Cantlay, 20-1. I think his price on DraftKings a little disrespectful with how he's playing. And man, he's just a couple months ago we were talking about how this dude is unbeatable. And so now no one's talking about him, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I haven't listened to enough stuff out there. But from what I have read, it just seems that way. And then I'm going to go with Matt Fitzpatrick. Not too long of a shot, but 40-1. I like those odds on him. And that price tag on DraftKings is really tasty as well. Snyder, any final thoughts this week?
Not too much. It'll be we're gonna have that premium show tomorrow. There's gonna be a lot more breakdown on strategy wise with the weather and whatnot as we get one day closer. Hopefully the weather kind of stabilizes more and we can get more of a good prediction on what's gonna happen there. We're definitely gonna be back on the Mail Media Network this week as well for the showdown shows. This has been going really well. I assume me and Hoop in Tambo maybe will be on the Thursday show, and then
be on the Friday. Because
can't wait.
Because we got JSU shipping. One of JSU, Hoop or
Oh,
Tony
yeah.
will be shipping the Millie for
That'll be
the
awesome.
NBA finals.
Can't wait to be on it with AP.
There you go.
Hoop's gonna ship them both. Roll down to Kentucky, 1.5 million richer.
It'll be a hell of a week. If I got the 1.5 AP, you got to cancel your family trip. You got to join us in Kentucky.
I mean, it's tough because like the father, like he's going all out for this trip, and it's like it's all he can talk about right now. Imagine Uncle T like just for 3-4 weeks straight, just all talking about this trip, and then me telling him I'm coming.
Out.
After he's paid
going to Kentucky with the boys.
Uncle T wouldn't talk to me for 7 years if that happened. So that's the situation that I face, but I'm working around it. We're trying to figure something out. Hoop, you got any final thoughts this week?
It'll be a good week. I mean, it's going to be fun. I mean, this is a good event. Got the absolutely loaded field, a tough course, weather that's going to play a factor. Rain, wind. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. The coverage is always great for this event, so can't wait to get out there and see these RPS logos at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, my final thoughts is I might just fade Rom and Rory and fade the 6K range and just get I might go the opposite of what a lot of these guys do out there, which is kind of their argument is betting on randomness and variance, and they'll play 100 golfers. I'm going to do the opposite and have a very dialed in pool and do what Big T did last year to win the Millie. Taking stands. And speaking of that, we have a lot more content coming out. Playbooks coming out tomorrow morning, maybe tonight. Cash chart, our tiers, cores, all of that is going to be coming out. And then tomorrow for members, we got the millionaire man himself, Big T, is going to be on with Tambo and Uncle T, and potentially a special guest tomorrow for the members only show. Which is always a good time. We also have Big T's note sheet that's up and live right now that's going to be edited and updated up to lock. So make sure if you're a member to go and look at that. Again, we have a promo going on right now. Let me pull it up. It is Players 33. It's going to get you 33% off your first price here over at Run Pure Sports. Saber Sim package is included with that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's run Pure. Simon, go get him, my man.